Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Midwest Garden and Pond Tours for July 2025. Our first visit today was really something quite special. I'm going to let Connie read the owner's description.
So the pond owner said, he describes his pond and how he constructed it 15 years ago by himself with some friends. It's about 30 feet long, it's 10,000 gallons, surrounded by large boulders and stones with a variety of weeping evergreens. And basically he's very humble, because if you're walking around this garden, it doesn't just contain a mini arboretum with a variety of specimen trees. It contains so many statues, and it's just filled with formal and informal garden rooms. It's a pretty incredible garden. He said that it's a place that's hidden and secretly tucked away from the rest of the world, and that is certainly true. Because when you enter from the front, although he has some beautiful plantings in the front, you do not expect his backyard to look like this. It's 3/4 of an acre, and he says it's filled with weeping trees, hedges, niches, borders, and one-of-a-kind statuary, which is very true. This man has been a collector for years. This year he is going to be 80 years old. And as people were coming through, we were noticing that he was giving them tours of the inside of his home. And so after we finished in the backyard, we encountered him, and he asked us if we would like to come in. And every single room is filled with statues, yadro, artwork, every room. I asked him how he manages to do all the dusting, and he does it himself, because he said his wife did it and she broke a few pieces, and he thinks that might have been on purpose. But every single room except the kitchen was filled with collectibles that he's been collecting for his whole lifetime. He has been in the house since 1979. It is an absolutely amazing, amazing garden.
So like a lot of these pond and gardens, it's amazing that you really don't expect what you get when you walk in, because it's just an ordinary street and an ordinary house on an ordinary street. And this is quite extraordinary. I mean, we haven't quite made it to the back yet, but just wait until we pass through here and you see just the amount of statuary that he has. Some of it quite whimsical, and lots of others also quite classical. It's quite an odd mixture, fairly eccentric to be honest, but just so wonderful, and such a wonderful surprise as you walk through.
And as you may have noticed, again, on this particular day, we started out with rain. I had my umbrella up, I was walking behind Mark, but it wasn't really pouring like the day before at times. It was just a nice rain, and as we progressed on the tour, the rain stopped, which we could tell by looking at the weather that it was going to, so that was great.
And with all the whimsical statues, it's quite easy to overlook the actual landscaping, because he's done a beautiful job of some of these borders. He mentioned his trees, and he does have some really wonderful evergreens. You can see some here, and it works really well with the way that he's planned it out. It's quite formal the way it's planned. What statues do is they draw the eye, and it makes the garden seem much, much larger than it is. It is fairly large. Seeing statues in the distance draws your eye and kind of elongates the garden.
It is, we admit, kind of quirky, because you'll see suddenly something just sitting like that bird in the middle of the yard. And it's not to everyone's taste, we absolutely acknowledge. But this guy loves everything. You can tell everything he puts in his garden. He has so many places to sit. I hope he has a lot of parties, because that impressed me. And I know if it was us, we'd probably spend time sitting in every little section just enjoying it.
And for those of you that have a garden, you can see how well tended this is. It has good edges, the borders have been mulched, the bushes have been trimmed. It's very well cared for, and obviously would be a lot of work. I would guess that as an 80-year-old, he's not doing this himself anymore, but still, it's still very, very well maintained, quite beautiful.
I think he may be doing a lot of it himself still. He had someone, because he expected so many visitors, he had someone called himself a greeter. And he was a lovely gentleman who explained to us just how wonderful this man is and what an incredible designer he is. And so after he did that, he said, you can look for him. In the back, he'll have a red t-shirt on. And so I was looking for him. I really wanted to meet this man because when we had visited maybe 5 years ago, might be longer than that, we didn't get to meet the owner. But we were very happy to have met him this time. We spent a lot of time with him.
And we haven't even reached the pond yet.
No, I know.
That was the only little bit of mess I saw, the bag of mulch there.
Right, right.
It's the only thing out of place that I saw the whole time we were there.
But look at some of the beautiful weeping evergreens. The only criticism I had when I was in the garden is that the red area going over there. I thought the red was a bit too bright for the rest of the garden, but that was about it. And here's the pond. What a stunning waterfall. See, if he collects something, he's going to put it out there. If he sees something he thinks will work in his garden, you can just see that everything is going to be in this garden.
And there's so much to see. Everywhere you look, there's something that catches your eye. Like I hadn't noticed those Easter Island statues when we were there.
I like the turtle. So many places to sit.
And because the trees are so large, particularly at the back where we just were, it really makes the whole garden feel very secluded, even though you can see his neighbour is actually quite close. But yeah, despite the rain, that was quite a wonderful start to our tour.
So the next house that we visited is backed up, and you can see this. They have a wooded lot. They built a house about 5 years ago, and apparently the homeowner had her koi in another pond, and she built this house and brought her koi with her, and she had the pond built. The homeowner, and this is unusual, but the homeowner never came outside to greet us. And one of the things that we always enjoy, and I think all of us pond owners enjoy, is talking to other people with ponds and gardens. And we have questions, and we would just like to talk and find out something about it. But she never came outside. No one greeted us. The pond is sort of separate from the rest of the garden, and she has it fenced off. We weren't really certain why. We thought maybe she's having trouble with raccoons or some other kind of creatures, but I think raccoons could get through those bars. What do you think, Mark?
They could climb over them, probably.
I mean, they could climb over. We've had raccoons, and we know nothing will stop a raccoon. They'll end up on your roof if they want to get there. So I don't think that's the reason. We're just not sure.
There's probably enough room as well for a heron to land in there despite the fence as well. So, I don't really understand the point of the fence. But the pond itself is quite beautiful.
It is.
It's built by the Kane brothers, right?
The Kane brothers, they're specialist builders. They do a lot of commercial work, and they do huge construction projects of ponds and landscapes. And they constructed hers out of all of the dark rock that you can see there, which is obviously what she wanted to do. And the plantings are lovely. So it's a beautiful pond. And it is right off the patio, so that's always enjoyable. Like I said, it's just a shame that she never came out to greet anyone.
Mm-hmm. It is a really well-constructed pond.
Yes.
There's some beautiful fish, some nice plantings. But for me, doesn't really integrate with the rest of the garden. I think part of the problem obviously is having a fence around it. So this next pond is easily the oldest pond on the tour. It was built in the 1940s at the same time as the house, and it's also probably the smallest pond on the tour. But the garden is worth entering and seeing because it really is wonderfully well maintained with some beautiful plantings and some really nice trees. So you can see the pond in the back there. It's a cement pond, which is unusual because nowadays they're all rubber liners. So it's quite amazing really that that cement was poured in the 1940s and it's still there. Despite being so small, I think it has, they said 9 koi.
9 koi, yeah. The homeowner does a nice job with her annual plantings too. That was impressive.
I like the way they've cut that boxwood. It's got a nice flow, a nice shape.
It does.
Helps to define the beds,
It is.
both in front of it and behind it.
Right, and it is, you can tell because of the ferns and the hostas, it's mostly shade in the back garden. This homeowner has it's not in the city, but it's just outside of the city, so he has a very small lot, and you can see the apartment complex next door. And so as you walk to the back, you know it's going to be a very small backyard, and his pond, he dug it in 2002 himself using a pond kit. And so it is a really small pond, but you can see what some homeowners can do with just a pond kit and digging out a hole in their backyard. I mean, it is really a very pretty little pond. And he said that he built it right next to the patio because they wanted to be able to sit and listen to water. And they've also done a nice job with the rest of their landscaping, but look at how small that backyard is. And then you walk in and see that lovely waterfall. It's very nice. And like many people, he feeds birds. He had some very nice water lilies. They were pretty, and he's done such a nice job with all the plantings around the pond as well. And some pretty fish, but he said he doesn't have all koi, he has shabunkins. And a shabunkin and a comet, that's a type of a goldfish. And this pond he said it's about 28 inches. It's deep. It's not even a very deep pond.
But nicely integrated into the landscape, and you can see it's right there next to his patio.
Right.
It's a lovely waterfall, some nice plantings. So this next pond was also close to the city, and a very small lot. And unlike others, it has a front garden that is populated with an amazing tree collection. So you kind of know what to expect in this case when you go into the back. Really does have an amazing collection of trees, both in the front garden here and also in the back. And as you'll see as we go through, his pond takes up pretty much the whole of his back garden.
Right, and he actually has 2 ponds. And then he has a separate little section where he just keeps his lotus and water lily plants. And the great news is we got to take one home. We have enough of our own, that's true, but he had one that was so beautiful that we're hoping that the cutting that he took is one of these water lilies, because as you'll see, you probably got it in there, didn't you, Mark? A picture of it?
I believe so, yeah.
It's a beautiful water lily, and it's difficult to find them locally. A lot of people order them online. I've never tried that. And this homeowner has a little shed filled with filtration equipment, and he is very, very into it, as you can see. You can see the difference between some of the ponds, like the clear water in this pond is amazing. Oh, there's that water, there it is, the water lily, the pink on the bottom and the yellow on the top. I really loved it. And his fish are beautiful. Most of his back garden is shaded, but where he doesn't have shade, and he has a little bit of sun, he's planted daylilies, and they're incredible. But look at all these different trees.
He has an amazing collection of evergreens.
He does.
Yeah, that shed there is, I think there's also filtration equipment in there. I think he has 2.
I don't think that's just a shed. I think the filtration equipment is closer to the front. And if you notice all of these metal hoops, that's actually called a hoop house or a greenhouse that many pond owners keep up. Well, he's keeping his up in the summer because it's very difficult to take down. We used to do that. We would cover our pond in the winter because winters here are not easy on fish. And if your pond isn't very deep, you worry about the health of your koi. And so you put that up and put plastic over it. It stays warm all winter. And so he's kept his hoop houses up just because it's difficult to take them down. But look at those fish.
Yeah, he has some very, very impressive koi.
They're impressive. It's good to know he gets his fish from the same place we get ours, though. For anyone who is wondering about where most of us get our fish, a lot of them, ours is kind of local, but a lot of people order online. We do. And if you order a koi online, they ship them to you overnight by FedEx in a box with a big plastic bag inside of it with your fish. They fill them with air and they come overnight, and it's perfectly safe. But you can go online, you can decide what size fish you want, if you want a smaller fish, if you want, something a little bit bigger, which we usually get about a 13-inch fish because that way they can acclimate to the other fish in the pond a little bit better. And this homeowner there are actually 2 homeowners. It's 2 brothers who have this pond. And this is the last one on this tour. And the reason is because they serve lunch and they grow their own hops. So they make beer and root beer. And it's incredibly special. But we always know this is going to be the last one because it's always going to be lunch. We're always going to have lunch here, along with many, many other people.
So you can see lots of people were crammed into the garage for lunch. Not many people out looking at the pond, at least not now. As we get to the bottom of the pond, there'll be more people there. So this pond is unusual. You see the waterfall there, in that it actually is really like one continuous stream. It goes down into the larger pond that we'll see in a moment. And they're on a very deep but narrow lot, and they've done a lot with the space that they have. Connie mentioned that they grow their own hops and then make their own beer. They're also, as well as being really generous in feeding people on the tour, because it really is the highlight of the tour for a lot of people.
And look at all the, they put picnic tables out there for everyone.
They're not only generous with giving people food, they're generous with their time, and they're really good with kids, teaching them about butterflies. They have a little exhibit on butterflies, mushrooms. They really are quite a wonderful, wonderful pair, these two brothers.
Didn't they just start growing mushrooms? Because I don't think last year they had mushrooms. But now they've started doing that. They're really great about showing kids how they grow the butterflies. Here's their food. They had bratwurst, they had hot dogs. But the best thing for me, their root beer is the best. I would go there just for the root beer.
There's them.
Oh yeah, there's the mushrooms.
They're teaching people about the different types of mushrooms. And just a little bit further along, we're talking about butterfly life cycles. And the beer is excellent, especially on a hot summer's day, because it comes out of those taps really cold.
Right. It's a great way to end the tour.